For every news story, there's more.
So we can write the best security architecture plan, but it remains an essay until it becomes manifest on ground.
More detail.
Every time you are doing reform, even when we were doing it 2006, 2007, the question is also that it's not the right time. When will be the right time?
More than just the headline. This is News Extra on Radio Now 95.3 FM.
The United States presidential elections have begun already, but more Americans will go to the polls tomorrow, the 5th of November. While early voting has recorded record-breaking numbers, it is still too early and too close to tell who will lead America for the next 4 years. A number of issues have been debated by former President Donald Trump, as well as the current Vice President and Democratic Party candidates Kamala Harris, including Americans' involvement in the Middle East, taxes, and immigration. Joining us on this conversation to offer more perspective on these issues and outcome of voting is American-based journalist Irina Tsukerman. Well, good morning, Irina. I hope you can hear us.
Yes, I can hear you. Thank you.
Happy to have you with us this morning. So early voting has begun, but more Americans are expected to go out to the polls tomorrow. Just, from your reporting, what are some of the issues that are very key to Americans that are informing their voting decisions at this time, as we know it?
Focus has been on domestic issues, including economy, immigration, and of course the so-called culture wars, social issues. So there's been a lot of that, a little bit about the cross-section of foreign and domestic policy as well, such as tariffs, energy and energy security, and of course the impact of some of the economic policies on foreign policy. And there's been some discussion of foreign affairs, such as the war in Ukraine and the Middle East crisis, but not as much as you would expect.
Right. So let's start off with America's internal issues. There are differences in the position that both candidates offer on a number of issues. Taxes and immigration are two of the things that jump to mind. Can you speak to us regarding what these issues are, the fundamental differences in the Republican as well as the Democratic Party candidates? And can you give us a sense of how Americans have been reacting to their campaigns so far?
Well, the border security issue has been one of the major focus over the campaigns, and Trump has tried to portray himself as the champion of restrictive security. He's promised massive deportations, and he claimed that on his watch, the illegal migration, the border crossings, were significantly lower. Kamala Harris has been the border czar, so to speak, in her capacity as vice president. She has been struggling with that position, particularly because most of her tenure in office, the border security crisis has reached unprecedented heights. Final year of the campaign, she has tried to protect herself as tougher on migration and as allocating more resources towards border security.
All right.
Guards. Fundamentally, however, the border security issue seems to be championed by the Republicans. To make themselves take credit for the successes of their records. Trump is seen as more open to deregulation. He boasts about his economic achievements and attacks the Biden administration for high inflation rates. Kamala Harris did not distinguish herself from Biden, but she did try to focus on middle-class tax cuts and programs of future plans as president.
And now with early voting on the way, we're seeing record numbers. We're also seeing, a horde of election, we're seeing a horde of, I would say, people coming online and already claiming that this election is being stolen. We've already seen attack on mail-in boxes. Just a couple of days ago, mail-in box was vandalized, and the votes in there was set ablaze, and already people are starting to claim that this election would be stolen if we end up with a Kamala Harris victory. How is that shaping just the general discourse? How are Democrats responding to these accusations of election fraud? What are some of the Republicans who may not necessarily stand with Trump on this issue saying as well?
First of all, over 60 million people have already voted. Considering that there's only been a few such incidents that have made the news so far, I would say that's actually pretty successful. There's always some minor issues during general elections in the presidential year, but the fact that actually so few of them have been in the news is actually sort of miraculous.
Right.
The Democrats, however, the bigger issue than these incidents has been voting machines, just plain maintenance issues and issues of that sort. There's been changes to the systems in months leading up to elections in some states to ensure election security, and some of the Democratic talking points is that if the election does not end in Trump's favor, he is going to start revolution. So there's been a lot of polarized response. But so far, the actual election itself has been ongoing fairly smoothly.
So let's come back to a key issue as far as the U.S. elections are concerned, the idea of swing states. Now, there are some 10 swing states that typically see both the Republicans and the Democrats with equal level of voters. What have you seen as far as voting is concerned from these swing states?
Well, so far it's been a toss-up of an election. Trump, almost. But Trump has managed to reverse the trend from 2 points in Harris's favor in August to 2 points in his own favor in recent polling across the swing states. His most solid lead has been so far in North Carolina. In 5 of the other remaining 6 states, he's still considered in statistical dead heat with Harris. A recent poll in Iowa, which is a solid Republican state, suggests that Harris is actually ahead by a significant amount. If that is the case, that portends poorly for Trump, because no Republican has lost Iowa in general elections in a very long time, so that would seem to undercut his the trend in his favor in swing states as well. But it's also not sure. It's also not clear how accurate that poll has been this year.
Right. Well, Irina, thank you very much for your time this morning. We appreciate you joining us for this conversation. And hopefully we'll continue to hear from you as the election coverage continues here on Radio Now 95.3 FM. This is News Extra. The news review comes up in just a moment. Good morning.
This is Radio Now 95.3 FM. Come for the news, stay for informed conversations.